Hello, everybody. I am live in my pantry today, and I wanted to show you some pantry basics. A lot of times, when people are starting a plant-based diet or changing their way of eating to a healthier way of eating, it's a little overwhelming. And I just had my pantry redone earlier this week. So at the beginning of the week, we had to empty everything, which was kind of looked like a clown car. We just kept unloading and loading. It looked like Whole Foods in my pantry. So first, before I start and show you what's in my pantry, I have to show you my shirt. I got this weekend. I was at an art fair, kind of a craft fair type thing in Sarasota, which is where I live, and I'm gonna have to stand back. There was this fabulous booth, and she does all of these cute pun creations, and I'll tell you the name of it is Punnabaloo. You can find her on Instagram, and it's, if you can see my t-shirt, it says Rutabaga Ginsburg, and it's adorable. She had so many things to choose from. I could have bought every single one there. So I'm gonna kind of turn around and bring things out so that you can see me on the screen. And I'll get started. So in my pantry, I tried to organize things by grains and flours and baking goods and rices, beans. Those are pretty much the core, of what we eat in dry goods and groceries. I'm not even going to attempt our refrigerator and freezer with fresh fruits and vegetables and frozen fruits and vegetables. But when you are eating this way, simple is really the best answer. So a lot of times, if it's lunchtime and I really don't have anything prepared, I didn't plan ahead or make anything, I can come in here and grab something. Like today, for example, I was out running errands and shopping. I got back and it was like 12:30 and I was hungry and I didn't really have anything great in the refrigerator already made, but I had some leftover beans in the refrigerator, and we had some grilled corn last night. And so I decided, I took these rice ramen noodles, and these are a whole food. They're organic millet and brown rice. I get this big bag at Costco. You can see on the side, they're like little ramen cakes. Excuse me. They're little ramen cakes. You just boil them for a few minutes and drain them. Super easy. And I drain those and I mix those with some black beans, the corn, and I had some broccoli slaw in the refrigerator, so I threw that in to get all that cruciferous vegetable, and I just sprinkled it with a little bit of vinegar. And so I have this Ume plum vinegar, and this vinegar is great. It's salty, so you only need like a teeny tiny bit, like a teaspoon. So I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. So it's kind of hard for me with this camera to bring it in. So I'm going to kind of point to things or pick up things. So if you can kind of see up here, I organized this by vinegars. So this whole shelf, these two are kind of my condiment shelf. And you can do so much with vinegar. And with our whole food plant-based lifestyle that we live, we don't add oil to our food because oil is not whole food. It is a processed food, and it's very calorically dense. And contrary to what you believe, what you hear about olive oil being heart healthy, it really is not. It's not doing you any favors. So we shun olive oil in our house, but we do always have apple cider vinegar. Like I said, I have that Ume plum vinegar. I have rice vinegars, and then I think I've shown these on other videos. I order these flavored balsamic vinegars from California Balsamic in California. online, californiabalsamic.com. You can find them. They make and these are super flavorful, and they make great salad dressings. They make great toppings for a rice bowl or cooked noodles, things like that. So I always have tons of vinegars and other things like hot sauce. You should always have hot sauce. I have some tahini. When I make hummus, you need some tahini, which is just sesame seed paste. And by the way, this Mighty Sesame company, it makes a squeezable bottle. Find this, buy the peanut butter in the grocery store, and it makes it really easy because you just shake it and squeeze it. And then moving on, this is my kind of canned good area. So I always have on hand, always have diced tomatoes, different varieties. I always go for the no salt added because you don't need to put that salt. If you ever look at a can of tomatoes that is not a no salt added, it's tons of sodium, and you really don't need that. You really want to go as low sodium as possible. So I always have a whole variety of diced tomatoes. I've always got little cans of tomato paste if I'm going to make my own sauce or use it as a thickener. I use it a lot when I make soups in my Instant Pot. And then I always have tons of different canned beans. I usually make my beans from dried, and I'll show you my dried bean selection. So these are cannellini beans, which are like white kidney beans. Those are no salt added, and these come in this nice little box, and you do drain them. These are black beans, canned. These do have salt in them because I think I just didn't find the no salt added, and I rinse them really well. So I do try to get these without salt when I can, but if not, you rinse them very well. So my canned, sometimes I'll have canned artichoke hearts. These are just water, not the oil packed, and these are great in a lot of recipes that I use. So I always have beans and tomatoes, and then we go down to the next shelf, and I have kind of my grains and oats. So I've got always got oats. These are the rolled oats, the long cooking oats, not the quick oats. I have steel cut oats. Always have steel cut oats. They look like that. And those are very easy to cook. I like to batch cook those so that they are ready to go. I have a couple varieties of other grains back there. I won't show you everything, but this is quinoa. Quinoa cooks really fast. It's a fabulous grain to have on hand. And if this is all new to you, I would just pick a couple different things, when you go to the store, and try a few things out to see what you like, instead of just buying the whole grocery store like I have back here. And then I've got some oat flour, which I use a lot in recipes. And basically this is just ground up oats. And then behind it, I've got whole wheat flour. And then pull this out. It's kind of my grains and odds and ends. This is a little overflow, but I've got some just brown rice. I've got some polenta, which this is really good sliced up and made in your air fryer into like French fries. And I do think I have a video on that, so take a look. I've got some farro, which is another grain, which just gives you a little variety. And then we move on to my next area is beans. And like I said, if this is new to you, you want to start out slowly if you are, instead of just having, buying the whole grocery store out. So these are pinto beans. I've got black beans here. Oh, it's, you know, it never fails whenever I'm doing a video, it's landscape day. And so you can hear in the background, you can hear the lawnmower guys. So those are my beans. And I have some other ones back there, but like I said, just start out with a few and try out. We're gonna go down a shelf. And like I said, I showed you those noodles. I always have a whole variety of different noodles. Like I've got, these are brown rice pad thai noodles. And I do a lot of Costco shopping, and they had these at Costco. So these are little nests of brown rice noodles. So I always have, you know, I just never know what I feel like having. So that's why I have this very, very overwhelming stocked pantry. We also have, you know, whole wheat lasagna. When I'm going to make a lasagna, I have that ready. And then this is kind of a newer thing. This is the Banza chickpea pasta. So this is gluten-free, and this is made out of chickpeas, and it's delicious. We had this last week with cauliflower Alfredo, and it was absolutely delicious. So if you see this in the store, don't be afraid of it. It's really good. And then I kind of have this basket of, these are not whole wheat noodles, but those are the extra ones here. My husband does like to eat them. You know, the white pasta. It's okay. We do balance, so it's okay. And then my next little area is kind of my Asian basket, because we do, with whole food plant-based, we cook a lot of Asian dishes. So I have shelf-stable tofu. That's really good for dressings. I've got brown rice paper spring roll wrappers, and I use these to make those summer rolls. Have you ever seen those cold summer rolls in the grocery store or at an Asian restaurant? I also use that to make my rice paper bacon. Then I've got sheets of nori, which are the seaweed sheets that you use for rolling sushi. You can also use them for a wrap. I've seen chopped up salads that you can wrap up in a nori. And then what else? There's little odds and ends. So my rest of this shelf is dedicated to different nuts and seeds. I've got some pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds and sesame seeds, and I just keep them in little jars like that. I have some raw cashews, and when you are buying nuts, like these are slivered almonds, when you are buying your nuts, try to go for nuts that are completely natural. So not the roasted and salted. So you want the ones that are, like these say, unsalted, dry toasted. So there's nothing added. There's no oil added to them, and there's no salt. So I know those taste good. I know that big malty thing of mixed nuts with the salt on them, they taste really good. But for our purposes, we want the raw nuts, and like things like cashews and almonds, you can use to make different dressings. So we want to have those on hand. My bottom shelf is like my baking products. So I got things like, you know, all the basic, you know, baking powder, baking soda, those things. I use cacao powder or cocoa powder, same thing, unsweetened. So you want to, for baking, you want to use an unsweetened version. And then another little helpful thing is, if you can find this, if you have a Trader Joe's, this is peanut butter powder. So this is defatted peanut butter. You mix it with a little bit of water and it turns into a creamy peanut butter. And this is, for 2 tablespoons serving, is 70 calories and 2 grams of fat. And there's no added sugar in this. So if you've ever seen the PB2, the canister of PB2, the PB2 has sugar added to it. So if you want to avoid your sugar, look for the Trader Joe's, or there are a couple brands I've seen on Amazon. I think they're called Naked is the brand, and you can find those. But if you have a Trader Joe's, this is a great product. In fact, our Trader Joe's was out of it, has been out of it for a really long time. And we were in Chicago a couple weeks ago visiting our son, and that Trader Joe's had it. So I bought like 3 or 4 of them and put them in my suitcase to come home. Well, you got to do what you got to do, right? And then I'm baking cookies or making a sweet treat, because you do have to live your life and have dessert, right? I use these organic cacao unsweetened chips because usually when you're making baked goods, there's enough sweetener and sugar in them already that you don't need that added sugar. So I try to keep that sugar content as low as possible. Now, if I'm making a really special treat, or maybe it's for company and they're maybe not as used to my little lesser sweet tooth, I do get the Enjoy Life dark chocolate morsels or the semi-sweet, and these are dairy-free. These are vegan. So those are a good thing to have on hand. And as far as sweeteners go, I try to use as many unprocessed sweeteners. So anything, the cane sugars, even though they say natural and cane sugar, they're still processed food. And we want to stay as low unprocessed as possible. So date syrup is a great product to use. It's just dates and water, I believe. I don't even know. This is just dates, and it's pureed into a syrup that you can use as a sweetener in baked goods or in dressings or wherever you would use sugar. Also, coconut nectar. And I use this coconut nectar. It's very thick, as you can kind of see. It's almost like a molasses. This is a low glycemic sweetener as well. And I use this sometimes. I have a granola bar recipe, and it needs something thick to kind of bind all the dry ingredients. So that's what I keep that on hand for. So I've got those. And when I'm buying peanut butter or nut butters, I always get the ground, fresh ground. So this has no sugar or no oil added to it, no sugar added to it. So it's kind of like, sometimes you see those natural peanut butters in the store and it says no stir. Well, it's no stir because they've already added oil to it, even though they call it natural. But you want the fresh ground as much as possible. So I really, really went through that really quick. The other thing I can't really show you unless I kind of bring my camera inside here. Oh yeah, we'll go like this. And you can see this wall, kind of my wall of spices. And this is kind of my overflow wall of spices. But it's really nice to have a really good variety of spices on hand, because you're making dressings and you're making, you're seasoning things, and you're trying to use as little salt as possible. So that was my whirlwind trip into my pantry. I hope I didn't go too fast, and I hope you leave some comments for me. I'd be happy to answer your questions and anything else that you have questions about as far as cooking. And the next time I come on, I will try to do some quick meal ideas. I don't want to keep this too long because I don't want to bore you. So Rutabaga Ginsburg and I, again, Rutabaga Ginsburg and I will come back and see you again and give you some ideas of how to put some of these things together. I touched on it briefly, but kind of running out of time. So I will come back later and share some more with you again another time. See y'all later. Have a great day.